From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10, live from Channels Television. Reported tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Good evening and welcome tonight. Ousted CBN Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi named Emir of Kano. Spontaneous protest across the ancient city as supporters of eldest son of the later Emir kick. Police disrupt APC rally in Ekiti State. One person killed. And ex-army chief Abdul Fattah al-Sisi sworn in as Egypt's new president after a landslide election victory. Former Central Bank Governor Malam Sanusi Lamido Sanusi is now the new Emir of Kano. Until now, Malam Sanusi was the Dan Major of Kano. He becomes the 6th Fulani Emir of the ancient kingdom and 57th paramount ruler. Key claimants to the throne included 2 sons of the late Emir, Sanusi Lamido Ado Bayero, the Chiroma of Kano, and Aminu Ado Bayero. The Emirates Council of 4 kingmakers worked round the clock to produce Sanusi Lamido Sanusi as a successor to the late Emir who passed away on Friday. His ascension to the throne has been confirmed by the Kano state government.
The Emirate Council, not responsible of appointing the new Emir, has sat down, discussed, and forwarded 3 names to the government to choose among those the one that will succeed His Royal Highness, the demised Emir of Kano, Alhaji Abdullahi Bayero. Out of these 3 names, the government chose Sanusi Lamido Sanusi as the new Emir of Kano.
Spontaneous protests erupted in Kano with many vehicles and property destroyed just moments after the announcement of the former CBN governor as the new Emir of Kano. The protesters in their hundreds marched into major streets, assaulting people believed to be supporters of the new Emir and burning down vehicles. Our correspondent in Kano reports that the protesters were marching towards Government House, but heavy security had been mobilized to ward them off. They are said to be supporters of Alhaji Sanusi Ado Bayero, the eldest son of the late Emir. Well, as you're already aware, the Emirates Council in Kano has chosen Lamido Sanusi Lamido as the new Emir. And what is this new leader bringing to bear on the throne of the forefathers, and what has been his antecedents? Our next report takes a look at the man who was former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi.
It's a truth universally acknowledged that nature abhors a vacuum. So when the news broke that the Emir of Kano, Alhaji Ado Bayero, had passed away at the age of 83 on Friday, the search for a new monarch began in earnest. As soon as the late Emir was interred, kingmakers in Kano Emirate hit the ground running and wasted no time in choosing the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Malam Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, as the 6th Fulani Emir of Kano. His choice as the new monarch was ratified by the Kano state government. The yet-to-be turbaned Emir of Kano was appointed as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria on June 3, 2009 by late President Umaru Yar'Adua and suspended from office by President Goodluck Jonathan on February 20, 2014 after exposing a $20 billion scam allegedly committed by the NNPC.
Let us first of all make it clear that out of $67 billion NMPC shipped, $47 billion has been repatriated to the central bank. Now, what we're talking about is the balance of the $20 billion and what explanations have been given.
In August 2009, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi led the central bank to rescue 5 banks by bailing them out with 400 billion naira of public money and dismissed their chief executives. Other high points of his tenure as the Apex Bank's governor was his stance on the removal of fuel subsidy, as well as his penchant for showing up in office in the traditional regalia of the Emir, in addition to openly declaring his wish to succeed the late Emir.
AMCON has been able to raise enough money to deal with a significant part of these loans.
Born on July the 31st, 1961, Malam Sanusi started his Western education at St. Anne's Primary School, Kakuri, Kaduna, King's College, Lagos, and the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Kaduna State, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Economics in 1981.
Well, I'm being joined now on the news at 10 by public affairs analyst Alhaji Galtima Liman on Mr. Sanusi's emirship. Alhaji Galtima, thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10.
It's a pleasure.
Well, this, of course, is one in a lifetime event that would happen, the emergence of a new emir. But the former CBN governor is the new emir of Kano. Did you see this coming?
Well, first, let me seize this opportunity to condole the good people of Kano Emirate, the loss of Ado Bayero. It's a moderating influence during his emirship, I think since 1963, if I'm right. And it's good that 3 days after his demise, last Friday, we now have a new emir. That goes to show that the Emirate Council is working assiduously. And so let's leave it as that. You know, since he's one of the people expected to aspire to that position, his emergence, God anoints a king. So it's not surprising to me, whichever one, emerges. Initially, it was thought it was the son, the eldest son of the Ado Bayero, because all of them seem to have similar names and all that. So there was a lot of confusion earlier on.
Yeah, but yes, as you just mentioned, the eldest son was the favored to actually become emir. But what do you think changed the Emirates Council?
No, you wouldn't say it's favored, because at the level of the Emirate Council, anything can happen. I'll give you an example of what happened in the emergence of the Shehu of Borno. We had a very close family friend also who went all the way to Egypt to come along with the corpse of the late Shehu, and everybody was thinking it was him that was to emerge as the Shehu of Borno. And eventually, the incumbent happened to be the Shehu of Borno. So it's at that level, anything can happen. So it's not really surprising.
But the new emir, before he became emir, he was the CBN governor and also a critic, a very strong one, of President Goodluck Jonathan. Do you see him maintaining that position? I
don't think he was a critic of the presidency. I think the most important thing was that there were facts that he was bringing to the table. And in my own estimation, I think he was a little bit faulty in terms of the bureaucracy. And so that created a lot of problems between him and the presidency. There were due processes.
What do you mean by fault in the bureaucracy?
Bureaucracy, you see, you suddenly realize that there are shortfalls in whatever financial figures that came from NNPC to the tune of about 20 billion. The accusations coming from the presidency at that material time was that, look, you had all the golden opportunity to let me know. Why did it leak? Why did it, do you have another agenda? Creating that kind of problem. And to me, it's still not Uhuru, because if you see, there is this a case that is still ongoing at the Federal High Court or the Supreme Court, depending on, I don't know where it is, financial impropriety and all that kind of thing. So it's still not Uhuru. When you look at the antecedent of what had happened to his great-grandfather, where the Sardona, set up a panel of inquiry and eventually dethroned the emir's Muhammadu Sanusi. So it depends on how he is able to manage the mine traps that are there. The presidency is extremely very powerful.
Yeah,
You know.
I was actually going to that, how you expect him to carry on now that he's Emir.
Exactly. He has to be extremely very, very sensitive. We could see the kind of reactions, even though the other side of his supporters had not been shown. But, you know, you look at the overwhelming support, I mean, the power of the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you know, even though contemporary times is the governors that, you know, finally put the seal of approval. But I want to believe that if he treats, you know, the minefield with a lot of sensitivity, you know, that is going to be a plus to him. But if he jumps to the gallery, they may eventually, for political reasons and all that kind of things, do one or two things that will jeopardize his emirship.
I guess it's safe to say we wish him a peaceful reign.
I wish him, you know, a peaceful reign. And if you saw the kind of youthful exuberance in Kano, I hope and pray that he brings in a lot of leverage in terms of, you know, bringing peace and quiet and development to the good people of Kano State.
But of course, you know, the major problem in the north of Nigeria is the insurgents of Boko Haram. The former Emir, the late Emir, was a strong critic of Boko Haram. Do you see Emir Sanusi as one?
No, you see, His Excellency Jonathan Goodluck had rightly mentioned in Paris during the summit, the security summit, that it's actually beyond what he had seen. Initially, everybody thought the Boko Haram was a localized activity coming from the Yusufia sect, but suddenly it's been identified as beyond that. So whether or not Sanusi Lamido has the tools and the capacity, the power to see whether he can alter the equation, it's a very tall order. But he can, as I said, if he plays the card very well, he can serve as a moderate influence. And most important for him will be to begin to mend fences with His Excellency, you know, to be seen as somebody, in spite of the overwhelming support that he had.
You're already setting the agenda for him?
Absolutely key that, you know, because whether or not he likes it, he will still interact with the presidency, in spite of the support he's getting from the Konkoso, the governor of the APC state in Kano. You know, so it depends on how he's able to moderate his quote-unquote radical position, you know, and it's absolutely very important in the Nigerian political system for him to do that. Now, if he did that, it will go a long way in trying to, you know, bring that kind of peace and quiet that he needs in carrying the good people of Kano along with him.
Alhaji Liman, thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10. Alhaji Gautima Liman is a public affairs analyst. Now to other security issues. Suspected Boko Haram militants have attacked a town in Cameroon, but local security forces in the country fought back, killing 2 of the militants. An eyewitness says one of their vehicles was seized by the Cameroonian military, forcing them to run back into Nigerian territory. Cameroon recently deployed troops to its borders with Nigeria to man the area. And when the News at 10 returns, report on lasso fees to reach the governor by tomorrow. That's in a moment. Please join us again.